How's it going, everybody? This is Phil. This has been making news. Supposedly Kathleen Kennedy, who nobody seems to be able to locate her for the most part, showed up at a Black Panther Ryan Coogler some kind of event. I mean, it's got nothing to do with Star Wars, but God forbid she shows up for something. I can't wait to see whether or not she shows up to Celebration. She was asked whether or not the Boba Fett movie was still a go, or if it ever was going to be made, and essentially she replied, no, it's 100% dead. Here's the character. These are the tweets down here. Let's see. Journalist Eric Weber revealed this information through his Twitter account hours ago, in which he emphatically and clearly states plans for Boba Fett movie 100% dead. So on his Twitter, he says, Kathleen Kennedy just confirmed to me the Boba Fett movie is 100% dead, 100% focusing on The Mandalorian. The Boba Fett fan club would... I mean, why wouldn't they react to this? Did she just pivot to talk about the confirmed projects? The Boba Fett film has never officially been confirmed by Lucasfilm, only rumored since 2013. So yeah, the idea is if the movie is never officially confirmed, how could it officially be dead? And he said, had time for a couple of questions. She was heading out the door. She was running away because people started asking her about Star Wars. After hosting a Coogler Black Panther party, I mean, why would they get her to host that? Anyway, told her to work Boba Fett into some upcoming Star Wars project. My favorite badass character, for sure. So, this really, I don't really want to read the whole article here. I mean, this begs the question, with the Boba Fett movie, supposedly, essentially, 100% confirmed, however you want to word it, with this project being dead, and we know that we're going full steam ahead with The Mandalorian. I mean, we've seen confirmation from Jon Favreau. We've seen props that have been officially released on his Instagram, images of certain props, and we've seen some on-set photos, as well as that image, the image of the Mandalorian walking around in that shanty, outer rim kind of Tatooine-esque type of Mos Eisley spaceport town. So with all of that being said, the question remains, the Boba Fett movie is dead, but is the character Boba Fett himself dead, as far as it relates to the now official canon of Disney? So now, it's no secret that in the expanded universe, Boba Fett was able to survive Sarlacc's pit and blast his way out of that. And he went on to have more adventures. Now, we don't know where the Boba Fett movie was necessarily going to take place. And some people have speculated it was going to take place in the timeline between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. And then a lot of people also speculated if it would take place after, sometime after Return of the Jedi. So I think, for a lot of people who are fans of the character, we wanted to see Boba Fett survive Sarlacc's pit. We wanted official confirmation of it yet again in the new canon, and we wanted to see that movie take place post Return of the Jedi. We've already gotten young Boba Fett with the Clone Wars, and I think we don't need to demystify the character any more than he's already been. We don't want to have to go back and have a young Boba Fett trying to find his place in the galaxy like a young Han Solo movie or anything like that. We want to, at least for myself, I know I wanted to move forward. I wanted to see what Boba Fett had to offer going forward, and the predicaments and the situations that he could find himself in, taking up different bounties. But Boba Fett was a character that lent himself to shades of gray as far as where he stood ethically and morally, taking bounties perhaps for the rebellion as well as the Empire, and then somewhere in between there refusing to do certain things or carry out certain acts because it flew in the face of what he believed in was right and wrong. And he had his own code that he abided by. So that is an interesting dynamic character, as far as I'm concerned. Now, a lot of people will give fans of Boba Fett some crap. They say, why is he so interesting? He spent about 5 minutes on screen, and he dies in the most unremarkable way when Han Solo essentially whacks him on the back of his jetpack, sending him careening into the side of his sail barge, and he flops around right into Sarlacc's pit and punctuated by a nice deep burp. I mean, what a haphazard slapstick way for a character who's supposed to be such a badass, to go out. It's a pretty dismissive way to kind of get the character off screen. But, before all of that, the mystery of the character created this cult-like status and following. And, and he was further developed in the expanded universe as time went on. And when people latch onto something, the imagination is allowed to run wild. And people speculate. It kind of can snowball into its own thing. And, this was a character that over the years, when you didn't have all of these other Star Wars stories or the movies and the television shows, and a sequel trilogy and everything else, when you had when it was the 3 movies, and that was the grand scheme of things, okay? And maybe you could look back at the holiday special. This was a character where people, because he was competent in The Empire Strikes Back, people were dying to see more of what he was and what he was capable of, and they couldn't believe, they didn't accept the fact that he was killed so flippantly in Return of the Jedi. It was kind of a frustrating thing if you were a fan of this character. And I mean, you look at him and he looks, the armor is just cool as hell. Boba Fett is, he's a bounty hunter. He's mysterious. He's got all of these gadgets. I mean, he's kind of like a cross, he's got different types of armor, different types of weapons. He's like a cross between Batman and the Predator, he's just a really, really cool character to kind of think about and ponder what he's capable of doing, and what his abilities, all of his abilities truly are, and to see him in different types of scenarios and interact with different types of creatures and different types of villains and situations all throughout the galaxy. It is a fascinating premise. So is Boba Fett dead, even though the movie supposedly is dead? I would think that there was a possibility that he shows up in The Mandalorian. I don't know whether or not he'll actually be The Mandalorian. Now, Jon Favreau said in his, I guess it was his Instagram feed, or the official synopsis, that the stories, after the stories of Jango and Boba Fett, another warrior emerges in the Star Wars universe. This is The Mandalorian. Do we know for sure that the Mandalorian, now we know it's not Jango Fett, obviously, because he was decapitated by Mace Windu, but is it possible that this statement is a little bit of a curve, and Boba Fett is in fact the Mandalorian? It would be a swerve, and it would be something that would really get people talking. It would be a pretty wild moment when they actually do reveal that Boba Fett did survive, and he is in fact the lead on this show. Now, I don't know if that's the route they're going to go, and if they do bring Boba Fett in, it would be cool to actually maybe see him come in as a supporting character who actually kicks some ass, perhaps in the last episode or two, or maybe at the very end there's a reveal that Boba Fett is some type of a rival bounty hunter that's been going after the protagonist, and then the show fades to black, and then you're just looking forward to season 2. That would be really cool. There's been little drips and drabs, little leaks here and there. We've seen the props. One of them was kind of insignificant. It was the ice cream maker from Wilrow Hood running around in The Empire Strikes Back. But it was from The Empire Strikes Back, which, if you're going to read really deep into it, that was a movie that featured Boba Fett being a successful character and villain, a very competent Boba Fett as a bounty hunter in that movie. And then we've also seen the official image of the blaster rifle, which is a take from the holiday special, which is where the first time Boba Fett ever shows up on screen. So now are these little hints, with one being a prop where Boba Fett was featured heavily, the other one being a prop where the first time it was seen was in the hands of Boba Fett? Is this a bread trail letting us know, a very sly wink wink at the audience to say, hey, you know what? The movie may be canceled, but the character is well alive, and you will be seeing him at some point in this series. So I don't know, guys. It's just kind of something I've been thinking about. Look, they canceled the movie and they've registered a whole bunch of stuff as far as merchandise is concerned, but they haven't released any character details as of yet. Now, it is a possibility that, anybody who's doing merchandise could somehow slip up, and we'll find out well before this show even takes place on the streaming service that, Boba Fett will in fact be back. But if they manage to keep this under wraps and the reveal is done only in the show and merchandise doesn't screw this up, then it could be something really, really cool, and only time will tell. So what do you guys think? How do you feel about the Boba Fett movie being canceled? I'm not too thrilled, but it wasn't number one on my list of things that I wanted out of this new Star Wars, this new Disney Star Wars. I mean, I would be more upset if they said that the Obi-Wan Kenobi movie was outright not happening, forget about it, never, go away, you're never going to see it. That's something I believe should and could and will still be done. As far as the Boba Fett movie is, as big a fan as I am, I understood that he might not have the box office appeal that, and even though a lot of Star Wars fans know who he is, it might be harder to sell people on a Boba Fett movie than it is a Solo movie. And a Solo movie suffered the ill effects of the Last Jedi fallout. We don't know how much the diehards are going to come out to support a Boba Fett movie either. I mean, it might make another $500 million. That would remain to be seen. I guess we'll never know the answer to that. But so the question is, do you think that Boba Fett will at some point become a part of the show The Mandalorian? Do you think that's a wise decision, or do you just not care? Do you think that his story ended in Return of the Jedi? For me personally, I'd like to see him survive, make some kind of a comeback, and show up in the show. I would be happy with that. I would be thrilled to see him back on screen. I think that would be cool as hell. Anyway, that's my take on it, guys. Let me know what you think down below in the comments, and I will talk to you guys sometime soon. Until that time, be happy, be safe, be healthy. Have a great night. Bye-bye.